Good afternoon, you guys. Good evening or good morning. This is Jim from James C. Stark Radio. Welcome to the show. We got a treat for you today. We have a local comedian in the house with us, a real funny guy. The way I met him was even funnier, and what I did to the floor of his car was even funnier. Anyways, that's the story we're going to talk about a little bit later. Right now, I want you guys to put your hands together, make a little bit of noise out there, and welcome one of our funniest local guys, Jonathan Ponciano. How you doing, John? Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you for having me, man. Good to be here.
It's really cool. I haven't had a comedian on here for a long time because it's hard to find not a good comedian, but a comedian that's willing to sit down and open up like you do and kind of tell us some really funny things without giving two shits about it.
I'm an open book, Jim.
It,
I'm an open book. Just ask away.
Oh, man, it's so cool. So when did you first decide that you were going to be a comedian? When did the little Mr. Funny Man pop out? And did your mom keep telling you, would you knock it off? And you kept pushing it until you were like, you know what? I'm getting attention. I like this. Now, what happened? Like, how did it start?
You know, growing up as a kid, they would call me a payaso, which means clown in Spanish. And, you know, just always goofy, whatever. And just growing up, life, took its toll, and I forgot about it. And a few years ago, I remember I brought it up to a girlfriend, like, I think I might want to become a comedian. Well, actually, so
now, did she start laughing right then and there, Jerry, to get your first laugh when you said that, or was she behind you?
No. Like, when I started telling people, most people were like, yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I could really see you doing that. And I'm like, okay, because I expected people like, oh, shut the fuck up, sit down, dude.
Right, yeah, make me laugh.
Yeah,
no,
go
that's
get a
not
job.
funny. Yeah.
All that shit, man. But actually,
the only thing funny about you is you're a broke Mexican. That's not even original.
So I remember what sparked the idea was a ex friend of mine. She mentioned to me, she's like, hey, I signed up for a open mic stand-up comedy. I'm thinking of doing it. And I remember in my head, I didn't say it out loud, but in my head I thought, bitch, I'm funnier than you.
Yeah,
right. And then years went by, but that seed was planted that day.
Gotcha,
years went by, even after I mentioned to my ex-girlfriend, and then I mentioned to other people. They're like, yeah, I can see it. It went by. I was too scared to do it. And then I just felt the need to do it. I felt the need for the stage through a karaoke night. You know, I never do this shit, and a friend of mine just kept bugging me. So I went to karaoke that night, and then she knew that I grew up in church, and I used to sing. I used to sing choir. I used to lead and do all this stuff so I could sing, right?
So you're already comfortable with an audience?
Correct.
Okay, good. So you didn't
in a way, you know, but all that wasn't like church related. So when I left church, I just kind of turned my back on all that because I just categorized all that in church stuff.
Yeah, you're not going to get booed off stage in church while you're singing, even if you're off key, right? Now it's real. Now you're by yourself.
Right. But I forgot that high that you get when you're on stage, you know.
Oh, yes.
And when I did karaoke, like people were clapping and cheering, and it just reignited that high for stage, for that attention that we get, that validation that we get when we're on stage. So I had already been flirting with the idea of comedy, and then it was in October of 2017 where I did my very first open mic. I put it out there on Facebook, and one of my buddies from San Diego was like, hey, one of our mutual friends in Phoenix, he's doing stand-up. He'll hook you up with the open mics and let you know where to go. So I contacted him. He told me, yeah, there's this Comedy Off Main on Sunday has an open mic, and be here from this time to this time. Well, I had gone to like a business meeting, so I was showing up late, way after the time that I could have signed up.
Great.
But I'm like, I'm still gonna go just because I understand the importance of networking. So I need to go meet this guy, and just see this place for myself and whatnot. I went in there not even planning on going up, and at this point, this guy, which I later found out that was the owner of it, he was out there. He did his thing, and it may have been like 60 seconds after I walked in and sat down. He's like, "Hey, new guy that just walked in, do you have something you want to say?" And I remember at that point, I'm just like, "Fuck it, dude. I traveled this far. Why not, dude?
Do it. Let's do it."
So I did it, and I bombed. I bombed. It was crickets, man. And what got the most laugh was the dumbest shit I thought about earlier that day. So I had, throughout that time, some dude recently had asked me at a bar, "Hey, were you a fighter? Have you fought before?" And I'm just like, "No, why would you ask me that?" He's like, "Oh, your shoulders and just like your physique looks like you used to be a fighter." And I was like, "No, I've never fought, like competed fighting or nothing before." And he was like, "Oh, all right." So then I'm like, okay, I try to turn that into a joke. And I still think it's ridiculous, but people fucking like it. Which
you have that built though. You look like you've been in the ring, like boom, you nail somebody.
So
definitely.
So the joke went like this. Hey man, I recently had someone come up to me like, "Hey man, are you some sort of fighter or something?" And I'm like, "Yeah, thank you for noticing, but yeah, I'm a fighter because." If you put some tacos or burritos in front of me, I will fuck them up. and people just fucking laughed at that shit. I'm like, what the fuck? I feel like yelling, like, that's not even funny. All the shit I was writing,
I haven't even worked it yet.
Yeah, all the shit I was writing out for like weeks, like
right.
kind of playing double dutch, like, okay, jump in, now jump in, like
right.
All that didn't hit, but that dumb thing that I thought about in the shower hit the most, and that's what I walked out of, so.
At least you got to laugh.
Yeah, I got to laugh, man. But that's what started this whole comedy journey of mine. And it's been ups and downs, but it definitely has been euphorically good.
Yes, I'm sure. I'm sure. It's funny. You get up there and the audience responds, and it's a great feeling. When you're bombing, what's going through your head when you're bombing? As a musician, I know, but as a comedian, I have no idea because I'm not. I make an ass of myself naturally. They just laugh at me no matter what stupid shit I'm doing. I'm used to that, so it's nothing.
I mean, that's
yeah. Like, what are you guys thinking of? Is your ass burning? Are you getting tunnel vision? Are you freaking out, or is your mind just scrambling for something to say, or what's going on?
I think for the most part, it did scramble. I know at first I would be like, okay, I'm bombing here. All right, man, I guess I'm going to just have to move my best joke front, not save it for last, whatever. And then that bomb too, So then it's like, oh, shit, like you panic and, yeah, like, all right, well, I guess that's my time. give the mic back to the host.
Is there any, do you have like any tricks to get out of that situation, when you're stuck under fire like that?
Well, now it's very good to, like, I observe. And before I didn't do this, I heard Joe Rogan talk about this, about a pre-stage routine. And basically he talked about stretching before he went up. And I'm into yoga. I do yoga. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense to me. So I started doing that now.
Get that blood flowing, get the brain working.
And not only that, because what I found out through it is that when I'm just folded in half, I can't breathe with my stomach, so it slows down my breathing. It slows everything down. And then by the time I'm up there, I'm like, okay, I feel that I'm in tune.
That's how grapplers train. When you
right?
fold it over so you can breathe that way. So that makes a lot of sense.
And I never grappled.
That makes a lot of sense.
But it did.
But yeah, wow, he nailed that. Good job, Joe. That's good.
Right? No,
yeah,
and
really.
I'm a huge fan of his podcast. That's definitely my number one. for a lot of reasons, and a lot of comic of advice that he has there, especially when he has like other comics as guests. They talk about do's and don'ts, and like if you listen closely, they'll tell you watch out for these red flags, watch out for that, and that has really helped me out in my small short journey here as a comic in the Phoenix comedy scene.
That's good. So that all that advice is paying off. So you're folded up and you're breathing through it, and does like your mind open up into like a new approach to the next joke, or are you playing off an audience member? Can you look at someone and just start ad-libbing with them to get out of it?
So all of that, man,
everything. What's the safety net that?
So the safety.
Look, if it's a secret, don't say it.
No.
You give advice
so
to help
there's really no safety net that I go to. The way that I started, and once I started looking at this metaphor this way, it started helping me out while I'm up there. Is I view getting up and doing a set, I view it as skydiving, as when I went skydiving.
Okay.
You know, you did all the training, you did all the preparation down. Now you're up there, you're seeing everyone else go before you. Now it's your turn. Yeah, you're fucking scared shitless. Hell yeah, I was nervous as hell. But they tell you, when I went skydiving, they said, look at your right top shoulder. And what am I looking at? I'm looking at the wing. When I got to the door, I'm looking at the wing. So I'm not looking down. I'm not looking at the land. And then they tilt forward. So they, basically do that for you. Whatever happens from once you're off the plane, meaning whatever happens once you're on stage, to when you get down to the land, to once your set is done, is gonna fucking happen. Regardless of how much prepared you were. Because you don't know if you're going to hit a duck or a bird on the way down. As you don't know if you're going to have some random drunk, some metaphor. Random shit happen, audio malfunction, lights go out, some random shit, and you just have to roll with the punches. But once you land, then okay, it's over. Now we need to reset and do it again. And I record
every
all my
ride's
sets.
Different.
Yeah,
every ride's different.
It is. I record all my sets audio. That was a great advice I got from other comics, and I review them, and then that way I can see, I messed up here. I did this and that, and that's kind of where most of my writing comes from. Is I tried writing word for word, which that's like the advice way to do it. And there's a lot of comics that they count their laughs per minute.
Oh, okay.
Like if how many laughs they get per minute on whatever joke and stuff. Like I don't do none of that. Like that to me, I'm too fucking lazy. That's too much fucking work for me.
Yeah.
I'm just going off feeling. I'm going off vibes, and I'm vibing. I'm feeling the crowd. And, I point out certain stuff, but still have my routine that I go through my jokes. But if I see something or whatever, someone says something, let's say if someone says something during your set, you can't just power through it because you lose the respect of the crowd.
Sure.
So you have to point it out. What was that? Well, what you say? Oh, nothing. Okay, yeah, it sounded like nothing. Thank you. Or I had some guy one time.
A little heckler bleed.
We were at a bar, and I'm like, I thought this was a Raiders bar. What's with all this carnal stuff around here? They had all this carnal decoration, and some guy yelled, Redskins, and he put his head down. I was like, and everyone looked at him. I'm like, yeah, I would put my head down too if I was a Redskins fan. And everyone laughed at it. Like it was just, but I couldn't ignore it. I couldn't just keep going because then everyone would be like, oh shit.
I know how that can go. There's times someone can yell something out and you don't want to say anything back because sometimes it is funny and it's like, I don't want to respond because this is funny. But there are those times that it's like, well, wait, what? I can't let you say that in front of everybody, and I have to, without at least saying something back. I've been called all kinds of goofy things before, good, bad, and ugly. But sometimes you respond, sometimes you don't. But I understand what you're saying. You can't.
But as a musician, it's a lot different.
Right. So, that's my other point.
Between bands, you'll have like a host, The host can't ignore that. The host has to like, oh, what'd you say, or kind of like,
Yeah, that's what I'm.
because
that's
then they'll lose the respect,
Uh-huh.
of the crowd. So you have to just maintain that. Like you have to vibe with them. Like that's just the best way to put it.
And the funny thing is why I usually get it hosting like the fights, because that's when the crowd's rowdy and this and then they want to pick on somebody. They're just
Right.
So I'm their friend, but I'm their punching bag too at that one. But see, that's your gig. That's half your gig is having to deal with them. We get, the musicians. They're mostly whistling. The girls are this and that, and the guys are letting you really have it if you suck, and they're behind you if you're good. But there's always a wise ass who's drunk. But he's not heckling us as a comedian, so that always just goes right past us. But
welcome.
you guys, yeah, they are absolutely
They
yes.
are welcome.
But I
man.
love
We
when
love
you guys
them.
handle it, because that's part of your job. That's part of your show. So that's the coolest thing. So, what's the worst heckle you ever got?
The worst heckle I ever got.
Like the one that still hurts, or the one that still pisses you off, that you had to like rush back at him.
The worst heckle I ever got was at this bar here in the Melrose district. Excuse me. It's called. I don't even think they're open. I don't think they survived the Corona shutdown. It's called the Quail, and there was this. He looked like he was a Chicano. He had an LA hat, and I forget what he was saying. Like I forget what he was saying. He just wouldn't shut up, and I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, buddy. Hi, I addressed him, and then he just like yelling, just talking, being drunk and obnoxious, and he I remember he was like, I forget what he's saying, but he was trying to make fun of me, right? And I was like, all right, big boy, hey man, you think you're funny, dude? This is an open mic, like the list is right there, brother. You think you're funny, you're pretty loud out here, and he just like started, but I remember getting to a point where I wanted to be like, well, what the fuck you want to do, motherfucker? Like get all ghetto on him.
Pushed you all the way there. Yeah.
And I remember I'm like, dude, I can't do that. I can't do that. So I just said, hey man, hey big boy, there's a sign up sheet. If you're so loud, whatever. If you ain't got the balls to sign up, then shut the fuck up. And then he said something, and then he turned around and kept playing pool. And then I went about, the rest of my bit, which fucking bombed after that. And then, like I just felt bad. Like I was like, damn, I shouldn't have let that motherfucker.
Right, wiped it all out. Yeah.
And, like that was, man, I just didn't react the proper way that I should have. And I don't. He got me to that point like where I was pissed.
Yeah, you got under your skin and let you wipe out.
I'm like, well, what the fuck, what the fuck you trying to do, motherfucker? But yeah, that's definitely not the right thing to do. At no one's mic or bars or, that's not the type of publicity that you want to bring to an open mic or to the scene. Where.
Right.
You're fighting with fucking other people attending the bar, just whatever. But that was the worst heckle that I ever got, man. I remember that, and I still, to this day, I'm driving, thinking of different ways I could have said something that was funnier than what I said and how I reacted.
Well, you'll get another one. You'll be able to try out.
Oh, no, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've definitely...
Do you ever...
I'm out there enough to... I'll get one soon.
Did you ever have a heckler that got you so good that you couldn't stop laughing?
No.
No one's ever got you yet like that? Okay. That's pretty funny.
Usually hecklers are...
I've only seen it happen
entitled
times,
people, not funny.
It was funny. But I hear you.
They're entitled.
You're
they're
right.
not funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, they may think they're funny, but
unless you're at a Jimmy Carr
laughs
concert, Jimmy Carr, because he invites them to do that, and that's kind of their thing. They're not the entitled idiots, but El Guy's funny. But so tell me, who are some of I know I can't ask who your favorite is because, like me, there's too many to mention. Like who I like. And
and I hate,
and I know you have some influences, but in different genres and different.
I don't like
things,
those type of questions. Like in any, like when people are like,
right.
oh, who's your all-time favorite running back, or who's your all-time favorite?
You can't ask the all-time question.
Yeah,
there's too many.
That's too many. I like certain people for certain other reasons, and the same thing with comedy. I like certain people for certain reasons. Some are just really good storytellers, like Carlin. And have they know how to put in a really deep message, but make it funny.
Right.
You know, like Chappelle also, like he's really good at that. And other ones, you have like really dry humor. You have like Hedberg, Mitch Hedberg.
Oh yeah,
and, like
that's
one-liners,
and
and stuff like that. Which man, I love listening to Hedberg.
He went too soon. That one. He
Yeah.
he was funny, but yeah, his style was so just you're so just dry.
Man, you know the ones
funny
that
as hell.
you know the ones because he was a little bit before my era, but the ones that I'm like, man, they went too soon, and I never got to see them live. Is Greg Giraldo and Patrice O'Neal.
Okay.
Like those are some of my favorites to watch. Obviously on YouTube now, but yeah, like they were just very smart. Like
They
it
were
was
different
a different
too.
level.
You're right. Then they had a different style than
Yeah,
everybody.
a different style. Yeah, for sure.
And that's what sticks out. You can't. That's why we can have a lot of favorites. But you can't be like them because it's their thing. You have to be different. But if you're a true comedian, you don't have to be like anyone else. You're trying to be your own thing. And too many comedians are trying so hard to be funny that they're forgetting that they're just emulating someone else or a whole bunch of them at once.
Yeah.
And the other, these guys are great. Like, don't forget the comedians also that speak for the rest of us who can't, like Bill Burr.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the stuff that he talks about, and I swear it's like, man, every man in the world thinks this stuff, and women too, but they're afraid to say it. And he's like, "Oh, come on, we're all thinking it."
Oh, I love Bill
without
Burr,
even
man.
saying that. But that's what he does, and he's one of
I'm
my
a
favorites
huge fan
too.
of Bill Burr, and actually, I believe, I saw him when he came here to Phoenix at Stand Up Live downtown about 2-3 years ago. Man, it was like packed, man, sold out, like. Everything was like you were shoulder to shoulder with
I'm
everyone
sure,
else. Like,
I missed that one, but I haven't missed anything
time,
else
man.
he's done.
It was such a great time.
I love him.
Love
He's
hearing
in your
him on the
face.
Joe Rogan podcast, and just definitely his stand up comedy is very, I guess some people may call it controversial, but it speaks to us though. It does say stuff that we.
I don't think there's anything
we can't say out loud sometimes.
That's the only controversial thing about it is the rules that they say we can't say.
Right.
He says why. He says it anyway. And
yeah,
we're all thinking.
I love that, man. I love definitely.
How
I've
do
seen
you
all
get-
his specials on Netflix for sure.
How do you guys come up with your material? I mean, he just says what we're thinking, which is perfect. And all our thoughts go right into his head, and he's like, "Yeah, here it is." How do you guys come up with your material? Everybody's different. How do you come up with yours? Like, do you just see something funny, more observation kind of things, or is it stories you've grown up with? There's a little bit of all of it that inspires you.
I'm definitely observing, and I'm trying to tell people. So no, I don't want to use the word try. I am telling people the story through my eyes. What I'm seeing in the world. So a lot of it is my observations, what I see, and what I'm going through. What I've discovered is that I work the best with emotions, right? So if someone pisses me off, hand me a paper and pad. Like, I'm fired up. Like, if I'm just euphorically happy or whatever, like just emotions. I'm very emotional driven, and a lot of that, determines the type of jokes that I'm pulling out or what I'm saying at open mics. Now, open mics, that's like our gym, but also that is like our wall where we get to throw shit at, and see what sticks.
Sure.
So-
saying it's your gym says all that. Right there. That's where
we're working out. We're working out
perfect.
material.
Yeah,
and all that.
that's a great way to
But
put it.
we're
That's where you
also
guys
throwing
work out.
shit against the wall and see what's sticking. Like, not
Yeah.
everything's gonna be funny. At least it's funny to me in my head, but it may not be funny, or just the way I'm delivering it is not funny to
I was
the
just
people.
going to ask you that when you write the joke, it doesn't work the first time. You just kind of throw it away, or do you see what didn't work and try to rewrite it? to see if there's a better angle on that.
So
on the
to
same
me,
thing.
it depends how I feel about the joke. Like if it's like, fuck it, it's just some random thought that I had. Well, I don't think
Not worth
that
where
funny.
you're working.
But if it's something that's like, you know what, dude, there's funny in this motherfucker. I'm gonna find it.
Right? Yeah.
Then I'll keep it and I'll just work at it and I'll find ways to reword it and rephrase it and maybe I should start with this. Maybe I should like it's like putting a puzzle together. A never-ending puzzle. You just, I go up, I record, I go home and listen, and oh man, I could have said this. Oh, if I would have led with this, or I would have blah blah blah. And then, okay, on the next one, let's see if I could remember that. And certain stuff I write down, but I don't write everything down word for word.
Okay. So yeah, well, I'm sure a lot of ad lib is gonna hit. You got to be ready for that really quick. But do you ever find yourself halfway through a joke that you've worked on for a long time, about halfway through it, all of a sudden you just discovered that new punchline right there? Does that ever happen on stage? Like you've said this joke before, but now you've figured it out right on the spot. Does that ever happen?
No. That.
Have you ever gotten through one and you just forgot the end of it?
I have done that. I have done that. But thinking of the punchline. In the middle of the joke, that happens to me while I'm reviewing the joke after, but not when I'm on stage performing.
Gotcha. I was just curious if that ever happens. I just always wondered if you're always working on this one thing, that all of a sudden it comes to you right then and there. It's if you just throw it out there, if you hold it back and just rewrite it next time. I never know. It's just a different world there. That's really cool. You guys, we're going to take a really quick break. We're going to be right back. You're listening to James C. Stark Radio with our guest, local comedian Jonathan Ponciano. I told you we'd be right back. Pow, just like that. Had to take our old 420 break, our favorite sponsor. Anyways.
Pause for the cause.
So before we continue on this awesome story of yours, we are sitting here with Jonathan Ponciano, local comedian and half philosopher here too. He's got a lot of really cool things that we've talked about off air here for a little bit. I don't know. He's got a great mind. He's got a lot of cool stuff to offer us, future wise comedy and other things. He's a very talented human being. Anyways, buddy, before we go on, you're welcome, man. You've been hosting an open mic and now you're back doing that. Where can we see you at that? The thing you're hosting there, the bingo, or was it just
okay? No. So I before the coronavirus, I was hosting a music bingo and trivia. I was hosting open mic, actually 2, and I'm bringing one of those back, and it's called Tap That Beaver here in Phoenix at the Beaver Bar, which is about North Phoenix, around 19th Avenue and Cactus.
I know those dudes.
So, yeah, the Beaver Bar, come tap that beaver. What that means is I give comics 5 minutes. After 2.5 minutes, I give the crowd, the audience, the option to start tapping on the countertop, on the table, if the comic is not good, to tap that comic off stage.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's where the Beaver Bar, where it's like a tap out open mic, tap that beaver. I mean, it didn't take a rocket genius to put those together, because I ain't no rocket genius.
Now it'll take a rocket pervert to figure out a whole nother angle on that too. So glad you pointed that out for me.
But yeah, we'll be back on July 17th. Yeah, July 17th. I got the green light for July 17th, so I got a whole nother month to promote it and make the flyer and all that. So keep an eye out for that. If you're in Phoenix, you're open, you're a comic, come get some stage time. Come find out if your jokes are good or not. It is really good. It hurts. It really does hurt, but it's some of the best lessons that you can get is when someone tells you you're not as clever as you think you are, and you got to take that home with you, swallow that pill, rewrite your shit, and come back next week to prove that motherfucker that tapped you out wrong. It's definitely
awesome.
Challenge.
That is awesome. You comedians are heartless, man. Actually, I think that's a killer idea. I mean, that's so goes like the Gong Show with Oh man, nice. I'm glad this is like club that beaver.
And you know, I can't take credit for it. Like I didn't come up with that concept, but I do really enjoy that twist to an open mic where, hey, if you're bombing, you know, fucking let's tap on the table and get onto the next comic. Hopefully they're funnier, and hey, if you make it through,
I
congratulations.
think it's great though. Yeah,
So,
you know, it's just like. It's like tapping out in the ring. You know, you're going to learn how to come back better next time. You're going to do it right in front of everybody else, too. That's, you know, it humiliates you, makes everybody know you're human, especially you. But it does. It just builds your strengths, and you get to go out and, you know, it builds those weaknesses, builds your strengths even more. You know what I mean?
you know, like,
It's just a good idea.
I view it as getting squeezed.
And you got to go in with that attitude. You can't go in with that attitude like, oh, I'm better than everybody else, and then get your ass kicked, and you're going to have an attitude. You need to go in with the attitude. Like, I'm here to learn something. What's good and what's bad.
You know, the really good comic, Eddie Griffin, has a really good joke about that, where he says, you thought you were Billy Badass. Then you met Billy Badass.
Yeah.
Now you find out you're good at math.
Yeah, exactly.
Funny ass skit, man. Eddie Griffin. But yeah, like, you know, when you get to those points, like you're getting squeezed, man, and me, like I said, I thrive in emotion, and when I'm getting squeezed, like it's on, you know, like the challenge is on, and because of being squeezed through everything that's happening, like I've came out with some great ideas for comedy shows, even through this whole quarantine coronavirus times, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I do provide masks. I do provide disinfecting wipes, disinfecting spray, gloves. I have 3 mics, so if any comic is concerned or whatnot about everything going on, they could get a clean disinfected mic, you know, and plug it in, so they don't have to use the same mic as everyone else. So, like, I do keep those precautionary measures.
See, guys, all the entertainers in town are doing that. Not just the musicians and singers, the comedians, other MC, everybody's doing that. They're all taking care of those microphones, so...
No, for sure. And because we have to. We have to move forward. Like, yeah, there's a coronavirus out here, but we have to learn to live with it. We have to learn, you know, to navigate around it. I'm not saying coronavirus is not real. I just refuse to live in fear, and I'm getting a lot of shit for that right now.
We all are.
You know, I'm getting a lot of shit because I'm still doing open mics. I'm still doing comedy shows. I've been doing a comedy show throughout the whole quarantine stuff and the whole lockdown with coronavirus. And the funny thing about this is that all these motherfuckers, they were like, no, it's too soon and blah, 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 blah. As soon as they got a call from these big fucking venues where they could fucking showboat and whatnot, you know, oh, I'm on a real comedy club tonight. I'm blah, 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 you know. Now that they're still posting about the whole corona shit, but hey, guess who's fucking booked on a goddamn show they're gonna fucking show up to, not wearing a fucking mask, not social distancing, like you've been fucking flagging around in your social media and shit. But it's all good, you know. It like I said, I'm emotionally driven, and it fuels me. It's like, thank you, because I know that I've been doing the right thing, and the whole coronavirus shit, it's been a blessing in disguise, brother. Coronavirus has blessed me beyond measures, and it's because I never stopped. Everyone else stopped. Everyone stopped doing shows. They stopped marketing. They stopped promoting themselves. They stopped. I never did. So guess who was in front of every motherfucking face? In front of the biggest club owners here in town, the comedy club owners in town, you know? Like, who was in front of all this? And guess what? They took notice of what I did. Everybody took notice of what I did. Why? Because everyone stopped in fear, and I did it.
Crazy. Yeah, you jumped out of that plane.
I did, man. And this is something
Not
This
for
is
everyone.
love.
Not for everyone,
Like,
but
this
that's what you
is
did.
love,
that's what
though.
you're thinking. Yeah.
I love comedy. I realized that I need comedy. I realized that, hey, I need to get this stage time. I don't just do it for approval. I don't just do it to socialize with other people. I don't just do it to go hang out with other comics. If you see me at an open mic, I'm probably wearing sandals with these like the man tights, the man leggings with shorts over that, with a t-shirt, carrying a briefcase.
Okay.
At an open mic, like, hell yeah, I look weird as fuck, man. Hell yeah. But I'm not there for you motherfuckers. I'm there for me. I'm there for me to build what I need to build and work my jokes out and just get in there and just keep grinding, keep getting better, keep going for it, because I need this. Like, there's a lot of people out here.
Well, let's talk about this confidence, because this amazing confidence you have. I want to back this up a little bit, because I love how you're coming off very strong and all this, but I want everyone to understand where you came from and how you've regained all this and what almost happened in your life that this didn't happen. So, because you have a great story, it's very inspirational. And then I want them to rewind and then listen to all that fire you had in your voice a few minutes ago. And then this is going to be good. So, how did you even get here to the United States?
So I'm an immigrant myself. I come from immigrant parents. I was born in Guatemala, Central America. My dad was already in the U.S. Working in pay the coyote to bring me, my mom, and my brother down here. Even though my brother was born here in the U.S., he still got smuggled back into the U.S.
Okay.
Yeah, that's hilarious in itself. So when I was 7 months old, even though I was born over there, they brought me to LA. I was migrated to LA.
So you were 7, and what was it?
No, 7 months.
Oh, 7 months. Oh, I'm sorry, 7 months.
I was not even a year.
Wow. And you're bouncing in the back of a truck.
They took me to, my mom migrated me and my brother into the U.S. illegally for a better life. And that's I couldn't thank them more. I can't thank them enough for that shit. Because
what did your parents
we have a lot
do?
more options out here.
What were they doing for work?
Immigrant shit, man. They were doing construction, housekeeping. They were doing whatever they need.
But before they got here, how do they save up the money to pay the coyotes and stuff?
No.
Did
So
they have,
it's
jobs back then, or was it just
no. So it's basically my mom had got pregnant when she shouldn't have, and they just my mom and my dad escaped. Basically, they migrated to Louisiana, some small town in Louisiana.
Okay.
When they were pregnant from my brother. So that's where he was born, in Louisiana.
Okay.
They had got some. Actually, no, they went there legally because they had got visas. So when their visa was about to expire, my mom went back to Guatemala. As my dad, him and his cousin migrated to Louisiana. They made it to L.A. So they worked there in L.A. while my mom had me, because when she went back to Guatemala, she was pregnant with me.
Okay.
And then they migrated back to. So my dad went up to L.A. My mom went back to Guatemala. That's where I was born. Had me 7 months later, and then migrated me back to L.A. with my brother.
Wow.
And yeah.
She must have been going crazy. The stress that was on her must have been nuts, being back and forth like that.
Yeah. I'm sure it was tough. She obviously, like most of our family, still is in Guatemala. It's just a few of us that are out here in the U.S. But yeah, no, we're definitely immigrants. I have seen my parents be unjustifiably, racially profiled and, pulled over and just for no reasons, like I've seen people talk down on them because they have broken English. I've seen,
Sure.
like just stuff where you're a kid, you wish you could step up, but you can't. So you live with that type of feeling inside, like that animosity where
Right.
you're like, okay, well, I need to shut up now, but wait till I could talk. Wait till I could express myself, motherfucker, because it's about to be on. So yeah, that's kind of where.
This is where he gets emotional. This is where he starts firing up. See, I can see where that fire's coming from, though. And you get a lot of material
there,
from that.
There's a lot of, like, I've been in situations where I'm the only person of color in a room, and the cops show up, and all the white people are sitting in the couch comfortably and sofas and on the ground. I'm laying on the ground with boots and guns on my head and my back and my leg, and I'm like, I ain't do nothing different than these motherfuckers. Why am I the only person here, doing this? But it all. I believe everything is just a blessing in disguise. You may not take it like that when it's happening to you.
Sure.
But once you let it process, and it takes a few years, and you get past the whole victim mentality. Or
two ways of looking at it. They always say, that which does not kill you is going to make you is going to have one or two things are. It doesn't kill you. You're either going to get stronger, or you're going to wind up crippled up the rest of your life.
Right.
So, I mean, if it doesn't kill you, or it's going to put you in a wheelchair and be drooling and eating out of a straw or something forever. So it's up to you to get past it. You got to use all the experience to either grow or not. Get busy living or get busy dying. Get busy smartening up or get busy getting stupid. But make up your mind.
My mentor reminds me of that all the time. Is that if you are not growing, you're dying.
Right.
And that is something that just fuels me, because if I'm not growing, I'm dying.
What were some of like the first jobs you had growing up before you were doing this?
Oh man, the first job I ever had was in LA. It was a paper boy.
Oh, wow.
I walked around in the hood. I walked around in the hood early in the morning, passed out, paper, and it was a Latino. It was called. It was basically New Times. It was called Nuestros Tiempos, and they were passing it out in LA. It was like a new thing at that time, and they were paying me, obviously immigrant wage to get out there and do that. I didn't last that long doing that, but other jobs that I had, like just coming out of high school, were I used to drive for this construction company, and I used to drive the like big old like towing trucks, but they had scaffold on them, and I used to drive all the workers and everyone to there, and it didn't work because I was making $6 an hour, and I found out the people that I was responsible for, I had to get up there earlier, set up and all that, and I gave them a ride, so they got to nap through the whole shit, even through traffic,
right, after
a long day of work, and I'm like trying to stay awake my hardest behind the wheel because we just worked our asses off. They were making like 15, 16. Yeah, and I'm just like, man, fuck you. I got my papers. Too, yeah. I got my green card, brother. Like, what the fuck? You guys don't need, like, they were illegals, so, and it angered me. So, they didn't give me a raise, so I just started kind of just showing up when I wanted to, and I just didn't take that company seriously. I kind of felt bad later on because my dad was still working for that company. He was in the office though, doing some estimation. He wasn't out in the field, but I was just like, yeah, fuck you guys. I've done it all, man. I've done it all. I've done it all here in Phoenix. Construction, landscaping. I've never done roofing,
Smart.
yeah, I did.
Living in Arizona's got to be one of the hardest damn things.
I did
Those
some
guys are
cement
crazy.
laying and shit like that. That's some shit, man. Done some demo and yard cleanup, shit like that, man. Done a lot of warehouse. Like I took a lot of knowledge from warehouse work, man. Like warehouse work, because it to me it was a puzzle. So now I could go into your business, any business out there. I could go into your business and systemize your business for you. Like I could see, okay, these are just extra steps people are taking. They're just taking extra time. This not really necessary or whatever. Like I could see all of that.
That's like your superpower. I know you were telling me about that earlier.
Something like that.
Like you see things different. Like you see this like weird organization.
Yeah.
Organized. Like everything is right there. It's like your jokes too. You sit there and you puzzle them together until you find that.
Oh yeah, man.
One little
you
thing.
have
I think
to
that's
puzzle
so.
them
It's
together,
cool.
man. Like it's a never-ending puzzle.
Tell us about that crazy life-changing experience you had through all this growing up and stuff that almost put you on a whole wrong path.
Oh man.
Tell us about that.
So
'cause
growing
this
up
may
in the
help somebody.
neighborhood, man, like I was very intrigued with the whole gangster style, like the cholo style, right, of Southern California. I think my parents saved my life by moving here, but I was still very intrigued in a lot of that. So I wasn't. I was very high on the whole ideal that everyone was trying to keep us down. Everyone
Right.
is the man is blah 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 blah, and I believed all that.
You.
Yeah, and so I was always like, I was always not keeping a job because of that, and I had some arguments and different shit because of that. But man, when was it? It had to be like it was 2012. It was 2012, about June or July. I had this drug deal that went bad, and I needed that drug deal to go through because I had all my bills gambled on that transaction, ran
man.
everything.
Bad place.
Well, I knew this dude was a little shady, but I needed that deal to go through. One guy ends up robbing another guy. Now the other guy blames me for it, but he knows where I live, so he's threatening to come to my house and shoot up the place. I have my kids, my brother, my niece, and my nephew there. I'm like, I can't have this going on. I basically had to send everyone out the house, and obviously my brother's paying half the bills, half the rent, so he wasn't too happy about that shit. But I'm like, dude, like your guys' lives is in danger, so you motherfuckers gotta go. I stayed there with a few buddies of mine. We were coked out, we were loaded, we were ready, ready for something, because homeboy, I didn't know him, but he's talking some mafia shit, and he's gonna shoot up the place and all that, and since my brother, he was pretty pissed off. One of the things he told me before he left, he's like, dude, I'm tired of this shit. You need to fucking get your shit together.
Yeah, you're lucky he didn't beat you down, right?
Yeah, he was like, take this shit, take this time to pull your head out of your ass, and figure out the fuck you're doing with your life. So I'm like, damn. About after a month, nothing happened. So, everything, we just kind of went back to normal. And then I started going to some personal development classes. And, I go there. Before Corona, I was going there every Tuesday morning from 8 to 9:30. And we study one book. The book is called The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And that's like our Bible. But when I went there, I was ready for change, because obviously after spending that month living like that, like just paranoid, coked out, any light, any sound, anything made you, pick up the gun and ready. Like, you just never know.
Sure,
I
sure. And you're
I had
living
a
in
car.
that paranoia
So
and then just, oh, it's crazy.
yeah, no, and that
yeah.
paranoia eats you alive. And so the guy that got robbed and knew where I lived, he was black, and there was a car that had pulled up to by the front of the house, a little further up, and whatnot, and just stayed there during this whole time. So any light, any car, I'm on it, right? So I'm by the window, and I cock my gun, and I'm like, I'm ready, and then I see the back door opens, and it was a black dude reached out and put something out in the sidewalk, and my heart just started beating.
Sure.
I'm like,
You're
this
not
is
this
it, you know,
right,
fuck it, dude. Like, yeah, I had all the lights off, whatever. I'm all, you know, they're gonna think they're gonna sneak up. I'm gonna come out, just, you know, boom, 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 surprise them, whatnot. And then the door closed and they took off, and I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, this is not the life, you know. This is not the life I want to live. And so I was ready when I went to the personal development class. I was ready for change. You know, I was ready for a different lifestyle. Whatever I thought was right and all that, like, I know it wasn't at this point. I'm like, fuck this. So I started going there, and it's definitely helped me out. I started going to college and just finding different ways to, different knowledge, just exploring out there. And it brought me to where I'm at today. You know, I'm still crazy as fuck. You know, like, I'm still going to anger management classes. I do art therapy, you know, to help me cope with my emotions, like, just in anger wise, because when I get angry, like, I blow the fuck up, you know, like, I don't give a fuck who's watching, like, I'm just raw.
Just lose it and that's it.
Yeah,
Sure.
like, I lose it and that's it. And I don't like that, you know, because I'm working hard to build a name for myself in this industry. And one wrong move, one wrong night, one bad night could
Yeah, you
fuck
lose
it
it on
all
some
up,
of it. Yeah. Uh huh.
you know?
Oh yeah.
And I understand that, and
You
I'm
can't do
like,
that.
okay, no, I'm risking,
But
especially
here's
when
the
I'm
thing,
doing
though.
it comedy.
At least see, a lot of people don't understand that they have anger issues or this or that and other thing, and they take it out on the wrong people, and they take it out the wrong way, you know, or do the wrong things. But
Been
see,
there,
at least,
done that, brother.
Right,
Been
that's what
there,
I'm saying.
done
But
that.
if everybody's listening, you're talking through how you've worked through this. You're still working through this. You're probably going to be for a while because that's what you need to do it. And then you have these outlets like the art and things like that, and your comedy, and you take all this and you observe this stuff, and then you totally turn it around and channel it into something funny. I hate to say it, but it's like the wannabe gangster is a natural goofball. And you got this monster in between that's going, I still got this shit I got to get out of me, but as long as I can keep that here, and I can keep that in control, I can channel it here. It's good. No, it's cool. It's good advice that you're giving without even if you know that you're doing that or not, because you accept the fact that you have this in you, this rage and this anger, and you know that it's easier for you to work through it.
I understand that there is
instead of just going beating people down, you know. So
I understand that there is a beast in me, brother. Like, I understand that. Now, I could focus that beast into destructive, negative shit, which I've done in the past, and I've had someone recently trigger me to unleash that angry beast on them, which I'm not too happy about, you know, just to clarify it. However, I could use that beast for that, or I could channel that energy, those raw emotions of mine, into something positive, something that builds not only me, but other people, gives them the opportunity to express themselves in this way. And yeah, I'm not a guru by any fucking means, but I do have knowledge that I believe a lot of people will benefit from. And because I am open like a fucking book, I believe people will benefit from that because I will let them know, yeah, this is what I did. You probably don't want to do that, because this is how it paid out for me, and it wasn't a pretty picture.
That's
now
right.
I'm fucking working double because on top of building what I'm building, I gotta fucking clean up the fucking pieces
Right.
that I
Left
fucking
behind.
made. Yeah.
Right.
But we, especially in the ghetto community, like we're not raised to see that. We're raised to just react and rage and they had it
Survive.
coming. They knew how I was. They blah blah blah. Like and those become cop out excuses for us to take responsibility and accountability for what we do and how we do it. But with the same sense, we have this fucking shame culture that if you are who the fuck you are and they don't like it, they will shame you. They will even go up to your fucking job and try to get you fucking fired because you said something that they didn't like of you saying.
Sure.
Like it's definitely a balancing act. But you definitely have to become accountable for the shit that you're doing and the shit that you say, because the first step of changing anything in your life and your mind or whatever is awareness. You need to be aware that you're doing this, why you're doing this, how come you're reacting this way, and that
Here. Sorry,
I
didn't
fucked up.
That. Thank you.
Yeah, this might not be the best way I should have reacted. I get that. For next time, I'll be ready. And for sure, we definitely need to be accountable for what we do and what we say.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you don't take accountability for it, it'll never change. You can blame everybody else, and it's everyone else's fault. You suck it up, man. Own your shit. Period. End. Own your shit, man. It's just a lot easier than just doing that and just trying to buy this bullshit and then trying to live through that the rest of your life. It just eats you away, and
And there's a lot of people that say that shit just to sound nice and to sound so spiritual and mythical.
They just want you to hear. They want you to hear what you want to hear.
Look at their trends. Look at their patterns, their behavior, their habit. That will tell you way more than their mouth does. That will tell you if that's equaling out, if that's, what their heart is truly out there. Like, I pay attention to what motherfuckers are saying. Definitely, okay, you want to change, blah, 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 cool. I'll look at how you talk. I'll look at what you're talking about. I'll look at, because I don't want to associate with someone that's always going to see a problem to every solution. I don't want to associate. I've dealt with that shit all my life. I was one of them motherfuckers most of my life. Now I don't. I'm not that person. I don't want to even be around people like that because that shit's contagious. That shit's like worse than the coronavirus, man. It's so contagious, and you're doing it without even realizing that you're doing it. Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
It's
crazy. It's a crazy world. Everyone's got to make their choices, and I'm glad you made the one you did. A lot of people don't. The biggest one you said is awareness. Now that we've taken everybody completely off subject, this is great because you guys just got into a mind of a man who has been able to channel some real dark crap and a real rough time into a really good life. And now he's going to go punch the shit out of the punching bag, and we're going to be right back. Welcome back. See how fast we are? Jonathan got all his aggression out really quick and broke that frickin' bag. Well, he was working it up. It was great. You guys check him out. He's got a website. It's Ponciano.comedy.com, and Ponciano is Ponciano. Did I get that right this time?
Yes, sir.
Again, let's try that again. So, in case you're writing it down, grab your crayons, kiddies. Ponciano and comedy.com. And now tell us, the show is called Behind the Glass Cage. Is that correct? Is it Behind the Glass Cage comedy? Or is that, and that's your, is that the
that was my, that was the show that I came up with during the whole quarantine coronavirus
that was your
pandemic.
Okay, that's what it was doing. Okay, that was cool.
Yeah,
that's what that was called.
The name of
All
Behind
right.
the Glass Cage comedy. And basically that, so when the whole corona happened, it hit everyone, they closed down all the comedy clubs and all the bars and stuff. That's where our open mics are at. That's where we go do our thing. And they started doing virtual mics, which virtual mics, I view them as masturbation.
Okay.
Like, it's definitely not the real thing, but it really does scratch an itch that you need to scratch at this particular time.
Hey, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, works for me.
Dude, a lot of comics, they talk down on the whole virtual mic and all that. It's not a real crowd, or it's not a real whatever. But I came up with two of my best jokes during that time, and with the whole virtual mics. I have a buddy here. I hope he's still a local comic. I know he went out for the summer. I hope he comes back. But he has a virtual mic called "This Is Gonna Be a Disaster" on Zoom, and it's every Monday and Wednesday. And I jumped on that real quick, just to get my thoughts out, just to
sure.
express myself and work on these jokes. And it's been like I said, a lot of people talk shit about it, but it's been nothing but a blessing to me, to my comedy career, to just being a better comic and just learning how to roll with the punches. But since a lot of comics were, sneezing and looking down on the virtual mics, a lot of the thing that they would say is, "Oh, well, there's not a real crowd. I want a real crowd." So, me, having the entrepreneur mind and spirit that I do, I'm like, okay, this is the problem. We have virtual mics, and this is not the real issue. This is not the real crowd, so comics don't want to come here. The real issue is, where is the real crowd at? So I was looking around. Well, the only crowd, because we were on quarantine, was people standing in line waiting for a pickup, or for DoorDash people, or people waiting for a pickup, takeout at their favorite restaurant.
Okay.
So around this time, a friend of mine invited me to her event. I went. It was in Mesa. This venue, the event didn't go as planned, but I noticed this venue had really big windows that were pointing to the parking lot, and in that side of the parking lot, they had tables out there. Each table was 10 feet apart, no more than 4 people per table, because that was the regulations at that time. And light bulbs just went out. Just light bulbs in my head, like, oh shit, okay. So then I presented the idea about a week later, and they liked it. We did it, and it was a success. It wasn't a huge turnout, but it was definitely a success. To me, it was definitely fulfilling to see my fellow comics just being together again, having fun, doing what we do. I provided all the masks, like I said, all the masks.
Make sure we give them the opportunity to be safe, of course.
At this point, it was still Corona lockdown, so we mandatorily just disinfect every single mic. I have 3 mics.
Right, so you were saying before,
yeah. I have 3 mics, and we disinfected every single one of them. As soon as the mic, the next comic was up, he'll grab a clean or him or she, they'll grab a clean mic and plug it in, because the previous comic unplugged their mic. So then, just kind of kept it that way, safe, and the customers weren't allowed to use the bathroom inside, so it was nothing but us as the... basically, what I'm trying to say is that we were following all the rules,
Yeah.
Like, we were following all the quarantine rules, and this thing became a thing. Even now that the Phoenix cities have opened up. You know, all the cities around Phoenix and all that, all the bars, restaurants, whatnot. Behind the glass cage comedy is still a thing.
Good.
Like it's still, we're still doing our thing about once or twice a month.
Now, if somebody wants to get involved in that, can they go to your website? Is there information on there? Is there a special
So yeah,
number
you
they
can go to my
call?
website and send me an email, or you could also follow me at my social media, which is on my website, and I post all that stuff there. Shoot me a message, and I definitely get you involved. You know, get you signed up. It's more of an open mic than a show, but it's a fucking show.
Well, yeah, that's like you
Trust
said.
me.
That's the gym. That's where you got to go test it out, chop it, throw it against the wall, see what happens. That's the
It
perfect place for it.
creates a certain energy. Like behind the glass cage comedy, basically we're partying in the parking lot. That's what we're doing.
Okay.
You know, we're in the parking lot while the comic is behind the glass cage. The speakers are outside of the glass, and you know, so they could hear us. And we could see their
That's
reaction.
a cool idea.
So basically, what I fucking did,
That's good.
I solved these problems that I saw in front of me. Because motherfuckers were
Just like the
complaining about
warehouse.
it's not a real fucking
Just like the
I saw
warehouse.
the
That was
pieces
it,
that
yeah.
were in front of me. Boom! I put them together. This is the best fucking result that I could come up with right now, with the pieces that were given,
Yeah.
while maintaining, you know, still following the rules and the laws and all that other good stuff. And that's how Behind the Glass Cage comedy became about. The beauty of the whole coronavirus is that, yeah, that's a fucking great idea. That's a genius idea. But everyone froze in fear. So that was the only idea out there. That was the only idea, the only mic, the only show being promoted throughout this whole coronavirus. So everyone fucking saw that. Everyone took notice of it. And that boosted me way, way, way higher than I probably would have been boosted if everything would have still been open and all the other shows, all the other comedy clubs and everything would have still been running. So yeah, like
No, you saw opportunity and you pounced on it. That's for sure.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
Coronavirus
interesting,
hit
yeah.
me. Don't get me wrong. Coronavirus hit
You
my
found
wallet.
just like everything
big
you've done
time.
before. You found something positive in all the negative.
Yeah.
That's what you've
Oh,
been
yeah.
having to do for a long time. So
And look,
you
and
just,
I'm not,
you know,
I'm
you're
not trying
programmed
to
do that
sound,
now.
I'm not trying to sound like I'm above everyone. I'm not trying to sound like I'm better and I know something you guys don't
Oh,
know.
it's just
whatever.
confidence that you've gained through this.
What I am
yeah.
saying is that I also bitched and moaned when the clubs, the bars, and the restaurants shut down. There went a lot of my income. More than 50% of my income went out the door with that shutdown.
Oh yeah,
It hit me
everybody got
hard.
hit.
I
Everybody,
bitched and
yeah.
complained for about 2 weeks. I posted, "Oh, poor me," just like everybody else. Oh my God, what am I gonna do? Blah blah blah. And then I'm like, you know what?
Then you did
I
something.
could wave the white flag, or I could get the fuck up, get creative, and do something about this. This is the same shit that I my mentor tells me all the time. And I'm like, you know what? This is my time. I should have been dead a long time ago, multiple times. So the corona does not scare me, you know. And now data's coming out that hey, if you have a strong enough immune system, you can defeat the coronavirus, even if it is around you. So I am exercising daily. You know, I am getting a lot of vitamin D because a lot of the cases of death cases are vitamin D deficient. But I refuse to let fear run my life. I've lived in fear before this whole comedy thing happened. I was depressed, man. I was locking myself in my room all day long. I came out to go get some beer to the store, you know, get some beer, come back, get in my room, watch some Netflix or something, just stay in there, Not until I started doing open mics and started doing stuff, I started coming out and started being more myself. But what I'm trying to say is, yeah, I'm fucking human. Like, I'm human like every motherfucker listening to this shit. Like, I don't have no special gift or tool. I mean, maybe my gift is just the love of entertaining it, and that I caught the bug of getting on stage. But it is no different. Anyone could get up there and do it. Anyone could go out there and do this shit. What boosted me here throughout the corona is that no one wanted to and no one did, while I did. And
that and that goes a lot of different paths on that, because some people just didn't want to, they didn't know, because we don't know what the truth is half the time, right, with it anyway.
We don't know.
Other ones were just, I'm not even going to deal with it. I'm scared. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to take the chance. Other people said, screw this. I'm going to throw fear aside and just, I'm not going to live that way and do it. So everybody has to make their own choice. There's no right or wrong, because it's only affecting certain people. Certain people it's not, so who knows? Just be careful, guys. Just don't live in fear. Don't let fear rule you. Just live smart. Just, that's all. Just
no, for sure. Everyone knows. Everyone knows your own situation.
Right.
Like, definitely, I'll tell my kids, hey, just make sure you eat an extra vitamin C tablet, throughout the day. Like, just make sure your immune system is up there. But, like, why am I gonna put fear in them?
Right.
And like, yeah, we don't have pre-existing conditions. But for sure, like, you need to take your life into your own hands, and
in everything.
In everything, and especially in this. If you have, like, certain immune issues, then obviously, yeah, you need to be concerned about this. But it shouldn't shut down everyone else that doesn't, and it's like you said, man. We don't know. We don't know.
That's right.
And that is, I believe, like I mentioned earlier, I feel like our politicians are my Sunday school teachers, like, they give us all this type of bullshit because they just can't say, well, I don't know,
Yeah,
they just can't bear to say that.
That's funny, man.
We are in that time where it's like, yeah, I don't know, but just from what I'm seeing, from what I'm doing, then yeah, like, I will provide the safety measures for everyone else that wants to take safety precautionary measurements. But to me, like, I'm not wearing a fucking mask, man. Like, it's doesn't make a difference if I wear a mask or don't, because I don't have the coronavirus. I'm not coughing. And if I do cough, I'm coughing in my hand, so it's not just spreading out.
And you've been exposed so much.
And I wash
now, so you're
wash your hands, like, motherfucker.
Ones.
We should have been doing that from the beginning. Your mama should have taught you to wash your fucking hands after use the bathroom. Like,
all right, we gotta.
I heard a very smart man say, um, not only do you need to know what you like, but you need to know why you like that.
Yeah.
Once we dissect that, some of us were doing this to impress a certain person in our lives, or we're doing this for the wrong reasons, basically.
Right.
Once we learn, okay, yeah, this is not working, this is not making me happy at the end of the day, then we could adjust to that, because now we know why we're doing certain things. I'm doing this, why? Because it makes me fucking happy. I'm doing this because it makes me feel fulfilled.
That's the main. That's That's the greatest message right there. You gotta make yourself happy. If you don't, you're no good to anyone else anyway, unless you're good to yourself first. So, with that said, guys, I hate to wrap this up today, but we are out of time. Jonathan, thank you so much for being part of the show, dude.
Thank you, Jim, man.
We're going to have you on again, and next
this.
time we have you on, we're going to have some clips of you live, too. And
next time that I'm on, we got to talk about how we met.
Oh, that's right. I try to get out of that, but that's a whole other show. Yes, because that is awesome.
That was fun. That was awesome.
If you guys want to be part of this show, make sure you tell your friends. Or if you know someone that wants to be on the show, tell them to. Give us a call, 623-910-0265, or email me at jcsradio@yahoo.com. And don't forget to tune in to The Beat Goes On with Larry King and check out her tunes with all of our awesome top local bands. They're really cool. So, would you like to say anything else? Say goodbye to anybody on the way out, Sir Jonathan?
No, just, you know what? Yeah, huge shout out to the Phoenix comedy scene for being alive, being hungry, and being fucking awesome. And also, make sure you follow me at poncianocomedy.com. I only have one video right now, but I will get some more up soon.
You guys stay awesome. Thanks for tuning in. Peace. We're out.